Hi, everyone, and happy Tuesday. Today's assignment, as you will notice, is revisiting the idea of making an inference, which is why the title of today's assignment is Making Inferences Part 2. Last Tuesday, you had a Making Inferences assignment, and a few of you did quite well and were able to answer the multiple choice questions correctly. Shout out to Trevor in UW and James in PSC. Both of them were able to receive 10 out of 10 on last week's inferences assignment. I also noticed, however, that there were some Kipsters who were really struggling and got a lot of feedback from me on their Google Doc assignment from last week. And I kind of gave you feedback as to why the answers that you chose were not correct. And so I want to give us just another chance to revisit what an inference is, learn about how you make a smart inference or how you go about doing that in the correct way, and then give you another chance to go through 10 questions and answer those questions by making an inference. Okay? Now, I want to go back and just start by answering the question, what is an inference? When we make an inference, we're asked to draw a conclusion about something in the text by using information both from the text and information that we already know. So, a way to simply say it is that an inference is an educated guess. It's making a smart guess about something in the text by using information that's in the text or the story and information that you already know. That might be confusing right now. That's okay. We're about to talk about it a little more. Okay? So, when are you asked to make an inference? We're asked to make an inference when we're asked a question and the answer isn't stated explicitly in the text. Okay? We have to make a guess about what the characters might be doing, maybe how the characters might be feeling, what happened to the characters in the past, or what might happen in the future. Okay, those are all examples of when you might be asked to make an inference. All right. Now, I think that it all becomes clear when we look at an example. Okay, so I've given us just a really short example of a passage. It's only 2 sentences long. And then I've given us an example of an inference question. Okay, here's the example. Sheila Ray felt as if she might cry. She'd wanted the teddy bear in the store window for so long, and now it was gone. And now here's the question that's going to ask us to make an inference. The question is, how is Sheila Ray feeling in this story? Now, I guarantee that almost every single person that is watching this video immediately says Sheila Ray is feeling sad. But I want you to stop and ask yourself, well, how did I know that? How do I know that? Nowhere in the text does it say that she's sad. In fact, nowhere in the text does it use a feeling word at all. It doesn't use happy, mad, angry, sad, nothing. Okay? So how do we know that she's feeling sad? Well, here's what we did without even thinking about it. We used information from the text. It told us Sheila Ray felt as if she might cry. That's information from the text. Then we used what we already know. What do I know? I know that if I'm about to cry, it's often because I'm feeling sad. All right? We put those two things together, and then we have an answer to our question. How is Sheila Ray feeling in this story? We know that Sheila Ray is feeling sad. We took information from the text, we took what we already know, we put them together to come up with an answer. Okay? So when you're asking yourself, well, how can I make an inference? What do you do in order to make an inference correctly? We do exactly what we just did together in that example. We take clues from the text, put it together with our background knowledge, and then we can make an inference. Okay? It says good readers piece together clues from the text and filter them through their background knowledge to make an inference. Now, since that first example was pretty short and rather easy, I wanted to do another example just so that you have some practice with what the text might look like for your questions. So the second example is going to be one of the texts that you saw in last week's assignment. It's called Andy and the New Neighbor. Andy was lonely. He had no brothers or sisters. There were no children in his neighborhood. Andy's parents sometimes played ball and rode bikes with him, but Andy wished that he had a boy his age to play with. The people who lived in the house next door moved away. Andy heard that someone bought the empty house. He hoped the new family would have a boy, someone who would ride bikes and play ball with Andy. Andy woke up early Saturday. He heard people talking on the street. He looked out and saw a big white van. A man was opening the back of the truck. Another man got out of the van and walked around the back. After a while, a white car drove up. First, a man got out, then a woman got out. They looked friendly, but Andy was worried that they did not have a son. Finally, the back door opened. A kid got out. It was a girl. The girl's mother said, "Carol, as soon as you get your bike unloaded, you can explore the neighborhood." Later, Andy got on his bike and rode down the street. The new girl was coming toward him on her bike. She waved and smiled at Andy. Andy waved back half-heartedly. He did not stop to talk. He did not want to talk about dolls and clothes. That afternoon, Andy saw Carol and her dad in the backyard. They were shooting basketball, and Andy watched Carol shoot the ball through the hoop. Then she did it again. Andy was impressed. Maybe tomorrow he would ask her if she wanted to ride around the neighborhood. Now here's the question that's asking us to make an inference. What are the two men in the van doing in this story? The first thing that I want us to do is the first part of the equation of how to make an inference, finding clues from the text. So what are the two men in the van doing in the story? Let's go back to the part of the text that's talking about the two men in a van. I found that in this paragraph right here. Andy woke up early Saturday. He heard people talking. He looked out and saw a big white van. A man was opening the back of the truck. Another man got out of the van and walked around back. Now, you might, when first reading it, think that this is the family that is moving into the house. But in the next paragraph it says, after a while, a white car drove up. First a man got out, then a woman got out, and they looked friendly, but Andy was worried that they did not have a son. In this paragraph, it's talking about the family that's about to move into the house. So who are these two men in the third paragraph that the question is talking about? Since there's a white truck, since we know that there's a family that's moving in, and since these men don't seem to belong to the family that's moving into the house, we can make an inference that these men are driving a moving truck, right? Big white van, a moving van or moving truck, and that the people in the van are movers. So let's look at the options for this question. A, the two men in the van are buying a house. No, they did not belong to the family that had bought the house, so that would not be a good answer. B, playing with Andy. Nowhere in the text does it say that those two men were interacting with Andy. Andy simply looked out his window and saw those men. C, making breakfast. Nowhere in the text does it talk about breakfast, so that would not be a good answer. D, moving furniture. Does this fit our inference that those men are movers in a moving van? Yes. So the correct answer for this question is D, moving furniture. Now it's going to be your turn. As I mentioned, you have 10 questions. The texts are relatively short, so you're going to read through the text, then read the question that's asking you to make an inference, and decide which of the answer options is the closest to the inference that you made, okay? I want you to either highlight or circle your answers, or I've given you a space if you'd rather type your answer here, all right? There are 10 questions as a part of this assignment. For each question that you are able to get correct, you will earn a point. Can't wait to see what you do. I look forward to grading these. I hope you have a fantastic Tuesday.